us an update on Shuey? Is he definitely good to go for Sunday?
Yeah, look, he's recovered pretty well. Got to tick another box on tomorrow, but all going well. He'll be available to play and a good addition for us.
How much of a boost is that just to have your skipper out there?
Yeah, look, he obviously did his hamstring in the first quarter against Sydney, so we've missed him, but our mids have done the job for us in the last couple of weeks. So hopefully he complements those guys, and like I said, he get through tomorrow and away we go.
Your contested work has been a lot better in the past couple of weeks. Has that been a mindset thing or tactical? Can you give us a bit of an insight as to what you've seen in terms of that improvement?
A little bit of both. I think we knew we were off a long way off in the first few weeks in terms of the contest, and our work rate to get to the contest was something we focused on in the last couple of weeks. And I think that's improved, and the numbers actually have lifted. So not actually the work in and around the ball, it's been turning up and getting to the ball. That's probably been the one thing we've looked at, and that's a mindset thing, and it's something we've focused on the last couple of weeks.
Simo, sorry, just one more on Shuey, just in hamstrings in general. We're seeing a lot more players coming back off really short breaks, 1 week off, only 2 weeks off. Has that been a specific change, or is this one just a lighter hamstring?
Oh, each one's on its merit. So I don't think there's been I know there's been actually a lot of hamstrings in the last couple of weeks. Whether that's connected to a bit of hub life, I'm not quite sure. But Luke's had this before, and he's come up early before as well. So I think each player we obviously look at on their own merits and their medical history and what they normally need to recover. And someone of Luke's age and profile, it sort of fits in where he normally goes. So. Yeah, nothing specific in terms of planning.
Adam, Peter Ryan here. What have you made of the whole, I suppose, upheaval from the competition with Victorian clubs having to go to Queensland now that you're back at home and have experienced hub life for a few weeks? What are you thinking about the way it's transpired?
Yeah, we're doing whatever we can to keep the show on the road, aren't we? So, even particularly for Victorians, having something to watch while you're in lockdown is important for their health and well-being. So I'm sure they appreciate what the players and staff have done to keep the show on the road. And, there'll be another twist and turn at some stage. We get a run at it now at playing some games at home, and that might change in a couple of months as well. So it's whatever we need to do to keep it going and doing the right thing for the AFL and for everyone's jobs and, keeping the industry going and clubs surviving. It's what we've got to do.
Simo, what's the adjustment been like from the hub life to quarantine at home?
A lot more time with the family and a lot less time with the players. So it's sort of flipped on its head. We had opportunity in Queensland to spend every minute together, living and training in the same place. So got really good connection with the players and the staff, and now you're either home or you're at the football club. So you're quite limited and what you can do at the club now with the quarantine rules. So that's a different adjustment, more time with the family and less time with the players and coaching. So that's been the main thing.
How do you adjust now that crowds are going to be there on Sunday? Is there any adjusting to do, or are you just excited?
I think we're all excited. I'm not quite sure the ratio between West Coast and Fremantle supporters with 30,000. I dare say there might not be too many West Coast supporters at this one. So adjusting to not being liked with the Fremantle supporters will be, I'm sure it'll take a little bit of adjustment. I don't think it'll affect how we play, but I think it adds to the excitement. I think that the players across the competition have missed playing in front of crowds, and it really elevates your anticipation and the environment at an oval when there's 30,000 there. It's so much different than when there's no one. So we'll take any crowds we can get, albeit they'll be booing us this week.
I know you've coached a fair few of these now, Simo, but there's still a bit of an extra excitement coming into one of these Western Derbies, especially coming back after what you've experienced this year.
Yeah, we did spend a month together, but we didn't really hang out too much. I mean, I know a couple of staff members at Freo, and obviously players know each other quite well. But it wasn't like we all sat around the fire pit down the bottom of the hotel and shared stories. So it was we were together, but we weren't. The rivalry hasn't changed. Unfortunately, we just haven't had the opportunity to connect with our supporters, and I think that is a lot of our rivalry that we enjoy, the banter that you have between supporters throughout the week. And we normally have a joint press conference for RAC, get the opportunity to get both coaches in a room, and it's quite a big deal. So we're just going to do it this way this time around, and hopefully we don't have to do it again.
Timo, how much confidence?
Sorry, Jimmy, you go.
Timo, how much confidence can a win like the one the Dockers had last week give them going into a game like this? Obviously playing 3 quarters and coming from the 7-goal deficit that they had.
I think that's been a reflection of their side for the whole year, really. Even back in March series, I think we conceded 4 or 5 of the last 6 goals and lost the game at Joondalup. So that's sort of their brand. They play with a lot of spirit. They've got a lot of young talent coming through with some good experienced senior players. So it's the way they've been playing, and it's like I said, it seems to be their brand at the moment that they don't stop giving up. So that's something to be proud of for their point of view.
Simo, what's it going to be like against Jazz? What's it going to be like coming up against Justin after working with him?
Not terribly different than normal. I mean, this industry is it's pretty small, really, when it comes to the coaching fraternity. Don Pike, who went to Adelaide, he was one of our coaches as well. I'm coaching against premiership teammates, an old mentor, so he joins that family, I suppose. We all sort of have a connection to a lot of the staff around the industry, and there's healthy respect, but healthy rivalry as well. So, nothing changes there.
A lot of fans like to talk about the Derby streak. Obviously, for Eagles fans, it's a good thing. In terms of the psychological edge, how much does that play into it? 9 in a row now.
I don't know. I know when I started, I think we had a bad trot, and I think we might have lost the first 3 or 4 derbies when I coached. So I was going there for, I think we'd never win one. And then it sort of crept up on us. We've won a few in a row now. So I don't know how that feels for our players. It doesn't feel any different for me. But, it'd be good to win 10 in a row, I suppose. But that's not the theme of this week for us, that's for sure.
And I guess it would be a slice of history as well to win 10 in a row against Fremantle. Do those sort of milestones have any significance within club wars?
No, not with me. No, so much changes. Every year's a different side, and obviously there's a different coach now as well. So we need to win. That's our motivation. This next month is going to be huge for everyone in the competition in terms of how the ladder shapes. And this week's a very important game for both clubs. It keeps us in touch with the top 8 and keeps momentum going for both clubs. So it's going to be game on.
Megan here from GWN 7 News. Just checking, was it a bit of a blow when the tickets were capped at 30,000 without Eagles fans getting a chance to get seats?
Yeah, I didn't know if that was the case, that no Eagles fans can go. So we're talking 0. I think we're just happy to play in front of a crowd. Yeah, it's hopefully we can get it to capacity in the coming weeks, and we'll get our fair share of supporters that we can play in front of, hopefully in times to come. But I think we'd rather play in front of 30,000 Fremantle supporters than none. So, it'll be quite one-sided, but I'm sure we'll be okay, and the umpires won't get any noise of affirmation. Apparently that happens over here, so I'm sure they'll be fine.
And what did you make of the pitch invader last night? And do you think that will have any repercussions on restrictions going forward for the rest of the AFL?
Well, it will on him. If what I'm reading is right, most expensive pitch invasion in history of the world, that one. So not the smartest of moves, but hopefully it doesn't affect anything going forward.
Timo, Freo without Fife, how does that change your approach to playing the Dockers, I suppose?
Yeah, he's obviously the captain, and very important player for them, but doesn't really change the way we play. I think Fremantle are the same. Clubs have become very system-based with how they go about executing the style of play. And there's individual talent that's sprinkled around there, and no doubt he's one of those. So it'll be a problem we won't have to deal with, but there's other players in the side that are definitely as capable as Fife. So, yeah, and look, to be honest, it's not the worst thing in the world that Fife is not playing.
Adam, obviously everything's uncertain around what the future holds, but as West Coast obviously have got a stretch of games at home in WA, but has the AFL indicated that they not want you to play the next, say, 12 games at home? They want to get you out of WA at some point?
No, they haven't given us that indication. I don't think they know what the next phase is going to look like. So the uncertainty of the draw in the season is there for everyone to consume. But I would assume that we won't be here for the whole year. There's probably another phase where we'll have to get back on the road, and maybe our time in a hub will come again. But if that happens, and that happens, I suppose, we're all fully committed to the season and keeping the show on the road. And, I can only assume that might take place later in the season. But to be honest, I don't think anyone really knows what's taking place. Maybe the AFL have planned it, but just haven't told anyone yet, and that's understandable.
Just further to that, to be able to play, looks like at least 7 home games in a row, or 7 games in Perth, it's really a once in a lifetime opportunity for a lot of players. How much do you impress on them that this is an amazing opportunity that we've got right here and we can really set ourselves up?
Look, I haven't really gone to that depth yet, not knowing really up until quite recently who we're going to play. It's not really. It's be prepared for anything really. We played 5 games in a row in Queensland. We get some run at home. The best thing for us at the moment is we get to play in front of our home crowd and we get our supporters back, and that's a real bonus for us. So to play in front of our home crowd, we think it helps. We think it's an advantage, but it doesn't guarantee you wins. The other part too is the travel. Not jumping on a plane every second week, that would be an advantage as well. So hopefully we can make the most of it, but there's absolutely no guarantees that's going to take place.
And you're widely known as a family club, really. A lot of the players often speak about just how comfortable they feel with just the family environment and all of that. How much was that missed during that Gold Coast hub, and how important will it be to try to get a semblance of that going ahead for this season?
Yeah, that's a difficult proposition for everyone in the industry now. I think we've probably got more players with children than most, and that adjustment takes time, and every club's going through that now. The other one is the staff. We had 30 staff fly over as well, and you've got these Victorian clubs doing the hard yards for up to 2 months. So that's the challenge for how you deal with that. Some deal with it really well, some struggle, and you have empathy for the guys that struggle because of family situations, and you really got to park your life for a little while we get this done. And everyone's signed up for it, everyone's willing to do it. There was challenges for us as an older list, but that's no different to other challenges that other clubs are going to face in the next couple of weeks.
Do you think with the success of Tim Kelly and Liam Ryan taking their kids over that other players might do the same and other staff?
I'm not sure. I'm sure that's something that the AFL are dealing with each club. Through circumstances, we made that decision to take those guys over. It was good for them, good for their families to stay in touch. Some players really need it, some players have to have it, and some players can deal without it. So I think the AFL's approach is pretty universal. I think every case is different and every individual has their own needs, and I think they're doing their best to try and cater for those needs.
Just an injury question, Adam. How close did Jared Brander get this week?
Yeah, he's available. He's fully trained this week, so he's available. He just he wasn't selected.
What do you need?
Simo, we saw a video. Sorry, Peter, you go.
No, yeah, you go. You're fine.
It's just a quirky one, really. We saw a video of you and J-Lo hitting the driving range. Did things get a little competitive out there for you?
No, not really. He looks like he's a fair bit better than me. He rocked up looking like Tiger Woods, and I just come from training. He had his own clubs, and I had the higher clubs. So I was on the back foot the whole time. I think I had an air ball. I don't know if they played that. But I definitely had an air ball there at some stage. So, a bit out of my depth there.
I was just going to ask, Adam, what do you need to do to get back to your best footy? I mean, you've made a bit of inroads in the last couple of weeks, but what you thinking at the moment?
Yeah, the game's changed. I think for all of us to see with the shorter length in the game, it feels like there is so much more energy for the whole 100 minutes. So the energy to defend doesn't drop off. And I thought perhaps we didn't quite have that same energy for the whole game. I think we've redirected some of that. Our work rate's increased, which allows us to compete for longer. And these games are so tight now. Every mistake matters. So now I feel like we're back in the space where we can compete for the 400 minutes. We've tweaked a couple of things that we think are really important. We've had some good results, but at the same time, I think the challenges are in front of us, and obviously this week's the biggest one we've got coming up. So, yeah, the competition just seems to have moved in a different direction since the shorter game time. There's just so much more intensity throughout the whole day.
Do you think that defence on all the time, but also every mistake counting is leading to some of the football that we've seen? Like Sydney, Richmond obviously being the perfect example, and players not necessarily wanted to pull the trigger given how vital every movement is.
A little bit. I think sometimes you're used to the game opening up a little bit, and you strategise around that. It's a war of attrition, and there'll be stages in the game where the game opens up and you make the most of your opportunity, and sometimes experience takes over. And it feels like at the moment there's just no room to move, and everyone's trying their best to score more. Everyone's trying their best to defend as well as they can as well. So training's difficult at the moment. We've got groups of 8, so getting that connectivity with ball movement, I would assume, is difficult for everyone. It's a work in progress, and I think we're all slowly getting better. But I think the footy will look better in the back half of the season than it does in the front half.